All right, what's going on, guys? Rob Satch from Feedbackwrench. I am here with Shamal Asnani of Asnani CPA and Fitness Taxes. He has a really cool tax firm. He specializes, he's in Hayward, California, and him and his partner Rachel do business taxes for small businesses, but then specifically, they have another business called Fitness Taxes because Shamal and Rachel are both passionate about the fitness industry. They love powerlifting, bodybuilding, and that whole niche. And he helps some of the biggest names out there in that industry for coaches. So folks that are coaching guys that want to work on their physiques, or they're trying to increase their bodybuilding physique, whatever it is. No, they want to lift heavier. That's really what it is, right? And we've just been visiting for like the last 2 hours. We just did a video for his business, and we were just talking about how Shamal how long ago did you start your accounting firm? I forget.
Truly, I started it in August 2017. So we're almost 4 years in now. Yeah.
Cool. And you're a client of mine, and I'm a client of yours. We work together in some serious ways. But we were just talking about if you're an accountant, a bookkeeper, tax professional, or if you're an accountant at a firm, we were just talking about that accountants so often you go through tons and tons of school, and all of a sudden you get into a corporation. What were you just telling me that you tell me about your buddies that you were talking about here?
Yeah, no, I just think that there's this kind of common mindset in accounting, and it's ingrained into you when you take your first accounting class in college, honestly. But there's this mindset that basically go get your 4-year degree, go work at a large public accounting firm, go to the Big Four or one of these giant regional firms, work 90-hour weeks for the next 10 years of your life, hopefully get a promotion, maybe move on to an industry job. And that's just kind of it. And yeah, we were just talking about how there's just so many more approaches that you can take on, this to make not only yourself happy, but also just provide better value with people that you're working with.
Yep. So I want to inspire you. If you are hating your job, and you're at a Big Four firm, or if you're at a big firm and you're just grinding away and it's monotonous and there's something inside of you that wants to do a little bit more, I cannot emphasize this enough. Look into starting your own firm. Starting your own practice is not easy. There's a grind to it. There's a ton of risk to it, right? Everything inside of an accountant's like, I measure risk. I'm cynical of overpromises. It's not easy, but what I'll tell you is that there can be hope, and there's hope in different ways. And this is what got me excited. I'm like, Shamal, dude, let's quick record this because first of all, I want you to know that most accountants and tax professionals right now, most of the people that are getting their taxes done somewhere or by themselves, they're terrible. And I don't mean people, like all of our businesses that we recommend. If you're an accountant or bookkeeper, I think that you should do our outsourced accountant model. So just to clarify, I have Feedbackwrench where we help small businesses. Particularly, we do a ton for this accounting niche, right? We will help you build a website and get leads for your accounting business. But really what it is that you can help small businesses in a meaningful way. And the thing that made me want to record this video is because if you genuinely understood how many tax returns we would look at and how many books that we would peer in, and they're actually just totally destroyed. Shamal, how many times do you get a new client? You look in the books and it's like, it's a total and utter mess. You've looked at mine. Mine were a mess, and I knew enough to be really dangerous, right?
Yeah, there's many times where I have came across a client's pair of books, and it reminds me of what we used to joke about in the other firms as a staff one pair of books, which is basically meaning, the entry level person that just got out of college, they probably prepared these books, they probably prepared a tax return, and the partner probably looked at it for, 3 minutes and put a signature on it and said, get it out of here. It's good enough, and
Right?
that's not to knock other accountants or other accounting firms or anything like that. It's not about that, but it's about, hey, look, there's a lot of people out there that could use more help than they're receiving right now.
Because they're probably, so the other thing is it might not be other bad accountants. There are a ton of bad accountants. There's just a ton of accountants that aren't really sure what they're doing, and they're just doing what they did in their old firm, and they're not proactively engaging to do what I think is most meaningful. And Shamal and I bleed this, and you should too. And if you do this, you're going to be so valuable. Help them mitigate their taxes. Save them time by doing this stuff for them. and make sure it's done right and keeping them compliant. Because I guess what I'm trying to inspire you with is there's tons of opportunity, because not only do other accountants get it wrong because they're only focused on only what they know and not engaging deeply with clients, and they're too busy. They don't do the outsourced accountant model where they're genuinely engaged with a small group of clients, adding tons of value. They're too busy. But also, business owners do it themselves and they get it wrong. Don't they, Shamal?
Yeah.
Like, my joke in this is I am not an accountant. I help accountants. I have my partner at Nuance Financial was a CPA, and what I understand is value. And folks, I want you to know there is so much opportunity out there, because most small business owners or gig economy professionals, 1099 income earners, you just know how big Fiverr and Upwork are, and you realize that there are more people facing complex tax situations than ever before. And there's opportunity for you to drastically move the needle away from high taxes and towards financial stability, helping them invest and getting involved in compounding interest by using SEP IRAs, simple IRAs, solo 401ks. If you have a monotonous drudgery accountant job, you should seriously start. And what's cool is I have a course. I have a course for $500. And if you go to our website and you head up to accountants up here, just so you know, there's an online course, and it's 22 pieces right now. And as you kind of get there, 26 pieces, I think. And this is all about how do you actually add value? How do you work with clients? How do you find clients? And now we're kind of unboxing the digital side of it. We do digital marketing, but I guess what Shamal and I were talking about is that you can make a big difference in a business owner's life, and it's meaningful. It is so fun to know that you have brought peace to somebody that ultimately becomes your friends. We were just talking about how, like, when you're a business owner, you kind of like, this is your life, right? It's not, we don't go to work, right? We kind of are work, and you got to put banks on the river for that. You could let that consume you. And I've talked about that before. There's drawbacks to this whole thing. It's kind of lonely, tons of risk. The government wants to partake in all your upside, which drives me bonkers. Oh, you took zero risk and now you take on my upside. Thanks. But if you're thinking of becoming an accountant, if you're thinking that it might be a cool idea for you to break off and to start your own gig or to start on the side, I'm telling you, check out the course, but also go to feedbackwrench.com. You can schedule with us. In fact, Shamal and I are kind of toying with this idea of doing more consulting calls in a coaching group to actually start helping those of you that are just starting. I've had a handful of requests over the last month to do a mastermind group. And the idea is to collaborate together to answer questions and do coaching and keep things heading in the right direction. But I guarantee you're going to get value from it. In fact, one of the things that I talk about, if I were to summarize what I was most valuable for at Nuance Financial, besides bringing in like 150 clients in less than 2 years that made them $1 million firm very quickly, was that they got to sit in on my meetings. And I don't want to toot my own, at the risk of sounding arrogant here, I just have to frame this up. I sold at Best Buy computer sales, which love or hate them. I've sold tens of thousands of computers. Okay. Probably like, I think I've done the math. It's probably a conservative 10,000 over 7 years. Like, I did a lot. I was the heavy lifter. Then I started Nuance Financial Tax and Accounting, and I was a financial planner for a little bit. I ran 400 or 500 some odd meetings, good meetings myself, that had like a 90 to probably 70% close rate, because I'm good at this. I grew up, my dad was the sales manager and a salesman of Caterpillar equipment here in Minneapolis. I grew up understanding business to business sales and value. And I guess what I'm trying to talk about here is that if you start to grasp how valuable you are to a business, you will start to realize how awesome your job truly can be. And sure, if you're holed away in a giant building, Shamal, like those guys you're talking about, you just want to drill your brain out because it's so tiresome. It's so hard. It's so boring. But there's some cool stuff about your small business customers. In fact, I don't know. Do you have like, what are some of the examples of small businesses that you've been able to help that it's just been super meaningful? Maybe not their names or whatever, but like
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite types of clients you've helped in the past?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, we talked about obviously I have a passion for fitness, so I definitely, the coaching clients, right? The online coaches, the independent trainers, and even the ones, the gyms, right? Just helping gyms kind of stay afloat while COVID was going on. That was a really interesting one. But even just outside of that, like somebody that's just starting their Shopify store, and helping them kind of just
Mhm.
figure that kind of stuff out, right? And helping them discover that whole process. These tech companies that are all out here in Silicon Valley. I think ultimately what makes it so fun is that when you go from working at another firm and just doing, the books, the taxes, the audit reviews, whatever you're doing, and then it just kind of passes off to a partner, okay? And then you don't really see the end result of what your work actually accomplished, right? That can really, leave a hole in somebody. And sure, I'm sure you can work up yourself up to, a manager in X amount of years or a senior manager, whatever it is. And you might have a role that, you're talking with the clients, somewhat here and there. But until you're in that position where you're face to face with a client and that client is ultimately depending on you, not this giant firm that, you have in the background, but you as a person, they're depending on you to help them save money and make better decisions. I think that power, that's just so much more powerful. And they just have a level of trust in you that, you just can't replicate that.
And I think it's cool. Now, in no ways is it the easiest career ever. Like I would never frame that up. These are good, hard problems people accomplish. That's what's cool. This can be meaningful work. But there's something so important and meaningful about the advice that you, and here's what really got me into the business and why I loved it was I was in this financial services industry and you kind of listen to like the Dave Ramseys out there and you start hitting on like, who are the people, how are they moving the needle for people financially, right? Everything from eliminating your debt to buying the right insurance, to investing so you partake in compounding interest. It doesn't take very many times looking at a compound interest calculator, future value calculator, before you start realizing how small incremental investments over time will make you a millionaire or at least help build significant financial momentum, right? Well, now you compound that with, well, what if that was used with tax advantage dollars truly? From an internal write-off of your small business. And then you start to look at, well, what if you were to have side gig opportunities and hire your kids or whatever it is? There's so many ways that you can make their money go up. And when you impact their businesses, you create peace. Like seriously, when you can help the books, all the tension in my life is from my wife asking about what goes into the bank account and what or how's the business or what's going on? What do the financials look like? I'm telling you, when you go into a small business owner's life and you help them pay their fair share, not a penny more. These are my 3 value props I always hit on. Serve as a staff alternative to save them time. Just do it for them. So it's actually instead of a staff. And then the third thing is do it well, right? When you do that for a business owner, you're going to help them be better moms and dads. You're going to help them be better husbands and wives. And you're going to create momentum in their community because they can start to hire. And the beauty of it is by you helping and bringing some leadership. A lot of times small businesses need leadership to poke in a little bit. And I think that the model that I encourage people, if you were to do the tax course, whether you bought the $500 course, or even if you just did a site with us, or if you just watched our YouTube channel, what you're going to see is that you're going to do some meaningful work for small businesses. You're going to have an opportunity to build significant wealth for yourself. And I think it's super encouraging. So if you're on the cusp, I really think that you should think about it. You should start planning about it. I have a handful of blog articles that'll be in the link in this video to look at what does it actually mean. But here's the last thing I'll say. And Shamal, I'd love to hear some more things too. But you know what's cool? You land 2 or 3 more clients and you give yourself a big raise, right?
Yeah.
If we can help you, how long does it take for you to make another 20 to 40 G's in an accounting firm? It probably takes a couple of years, right? And then you make another 20 and then you make or if you go to school and you get these big jumps, but it's really, you're either a minion, a grunt,
Yeah.
or you're
Yeah.
middle, or your partner, right? And unless the partners pass and die, like you'll be a good 6-figure employee, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
In this business, I kid you not, you could get a small staff around you of 2 or 3 people eventually. Really, if you get 1 or 2 or 3 of you, there's no reason why you can't do significant income. And the fruits of your labor are beautiful. And you can give yourself significant raise. And very genuinely, we know a lot, between $300 and $2,500 a month, usually in that $500 to $1,500 a month client, are everywhere. And they're actually a good value. Like, you're a good value for that. You should believe that and know that they're out there, but there's a lot that goes into it. So anyways, I just wanted to do this meeting. Shamal, any last thoughts about people taking the risk to start their own business? Like, what do you think is like the biggest thing you have to wrestle with when you first start? Like, what was your biggest problem in your opinion? I know I'm just slapping this question on you. So what would you say is a big deal?
No. Look, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I think, in a certain way, the first client's kind of the hardest, right?
Yeah.
Not because they're gonna be the most complex, not because they're the most high. Your first client might be a very simple business with one person and that's it, right? But it's the hardest in my opinion because you're gonna deal with some imposter syndrome issues. You're gonna deal with some I hope I'm, bringing everything I can to this person. I hope, hopefully they're happy with my work, right? There's going to be a lot of doubt. And even scarier than that, there's no partner to sign off on your work. You're the person. Okay. That's you.
Mm-hmm.
That's on you. Right. I think being aware of that and then understanding, well, yeah, it's scary, but guess what? I mean, again, I come from fitness background, right? I mean, you train, you beat yourself up, you recover, you adapt, and you become stronger. Okay. And that's really the same thing when it comes to running your own accounting business. You're gonna run through some hoops, and I'm not gonna sit here and say you're gonna do everything perfect. You're probably going to make some mistakes. That's fine. Guess what? That's why you pick the right clients too, right? Because you pick the clients that are gonna work with you. You guys are gonna learn together. And guess what? That's how you develop your system, right?
Yep.
So I think, is it scary? Sure. But I think the excitement definitely outweighs that.
Oh, for sure. And what's funny is, as much as it feels risky, because there's certainly risk, sales are king. You have to get sales. But on the other side, guess what? You have like a handful of shareholders or customers. When you are an employee, to an extent, you have one customer. You get fired, all your revenue is gone, right? If we lose a couple clients, certainly it matters to us. And in the same way we get the big upside when we sign new clients, you have big downsides when the clients go away, right? That's why you always got to be prospecting, keep your funnel full.
That's a really good point.
It's actually probably more defensive. In fact, I kind of laughed. I don't niche necessarily. I help accountants, but we help other people. And during the pandemic, I'm so glad I wasn't a restaurateur accountant. I'm so glad I wasn't only on one. So remember that while it may be kind of risky, there's benefits to it. And this kept coming out every time you start talking, it pops in my head because your spirit, I think, Shamal, and your heart, we talk about this all the time. You are open-handed and you are a giver when it comes to adding value, paying attention, and helping people. And folks, if you like the idea of, that's probably the biggest investment. You talked about how you started your firm. We started by like taking a couple clients and doing it for dirt cheap, hardly anything, if not free. Feedbackwrench, I did it for free a bunch until I earned the right to charge money for it. But if you want to get started, unless you have a non-compete agreement, just find a way to go help some people. Help some people open a Google My Business and start getting some reviews, right? If you don't know how to do taxes, find somebody that's going to do it on TurboTax and do it with them and do it for free and learn, right? If you like the idea of doing this stuff, man, just take small steps in the right direction. But if you just find some people, find some business owners, reach out to some folks and just say, hey, can I help you? I'm dreaming about starting this business. I just want to know if it's helpful. So could I come in and just I'll do it for free. I'll just help you. If you like the idea, start doing that. Get yourself unfreaking stuck. Get momentum. I cannot emphasize this enough. Momentum comes from movement, and movement comes from doing. So rather than sitting there and making the biggest, best plans ever, Go out and find someone to help. help them
Yeah.
help them invest. Don't pick their investments so you're breaking the law, but help them with their tax return. Help them with their books. Just go out and say, hey, I want to start a bookkeeping company. Can I do this for free or cheap? And if it's good and worth it, would you give me a Google review? It's so easy. And I don't know. Any thoughts come to mind as I hit on those points there, Shamal?
No, I think that's seriously some of the best advice that you can give out there. Just find someone that you want to help. Tell them, look, I'm willing to do it for free. I'm willing to do it for cheap, whatever it is. But that's that first step. Just building momentum from there. Yeah, word of mouth goes a very long way. So.
Well, and you were talking, you have a client that you have on a very small monthly retainer, and it's more of like a conversation that you're having, right? I have some clients where they call in, we don't have them on, like, I'm not doing work for them, but I'm helping them. Or if it's just diving in and tweaking something, right? I do all sorts of that. If you need ad help, we can do that. But the idea is if you add value, and I think just to bring it full circle, when you're in the business of finding people with problems, helping solve those problems, and adding value. We all know like adding value, but remember that folks have a ton of anxiety about this stuff. They screw things up a lot. They think they can do it and they cannot. They undervalue their own time and do it themselves and waste time. So there is a need for you. I guess that's what initiated me going, Shamal, let's record this video quick. I cannot tell you this enough. There's not enough accountants doing their own business. In fact, if you look at all these big mega firms, they're starting to switch up their services. They're starting to try and do this outsourced accountant model because they know they're vulnerable, because they know that they're a bunch of nonsense. You have an ability to be nimble, to step out, start. And if you're a successful accountant that's actually kind of high protein, you know how to add value, you understand how to solve good problems, and you won't bat an eye at just about any tax return or books, then doggone it, start taking the plunge. Start writing things out. We'd love to help you. We got some coaching going on, but I hope this is helpful. Again, go to feedbackwrench.com if you're looking for help in terms of your bookkeeping, helping your bookkeeping and accounting business. We do websites, we do ads. We will help you build momentum, keep things going. And I tell you what, Shamal's got one of the coolest businesses out there. He's helping folks in a huge way. And again, that's Asnani CPA and Fitness Taxes. And Shamal, I just really appreciate your time here. And thanks for all the help and the coaching that we're going to be doing with more accountants as we move forward too. So
Thank you.
Cool. Good luck, guys. Like and subscribe if you like this. Check out the podcast. We're going to be having more of this. Good luck and God bless.